Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name, of course, is Seesaw or Chris, and today we are talking about Wildstar. So this is going to be the level 30 to 40 section of our leveling guide, and for those of you who don't know, we've already done the other sections, which I'll probably link in the description below, or you can find in the Grandmaster plan of our Wildstar casual guide whenever it's complete. So look out for those things. In this one, I'm going to try and make some changes to how I do the leveling guide. I've received some feedback in the other videos that people want the video to be shorter, more concise, as well as have more visual diagrams for explaining information. So I'm going to try and do my best to hit those three comments and, make some improvements. So without further ado, we'll get right into it. At the top of the screen, you'll see links for the three sections of leveling that this guide will cover. The first one is about questing and questing areas. You can either click that or wait the 10 seconds it takes me to, talk about these, because it's the very first one we're going to talk about. The next one is going to be about PvE instances, which is dungeons and ship hands. So you can click that if you want to skip to that. And the last one, which will be kind of short, is the PvP leveling and what's changed at this level. So feel free to click on any of those, or just stay tuned to start with leveling through questing and stuff, which is probably the quickest way to do it, if I'm going to be honest. So you're level 30 and you want to be heading to Farside, which you should already be at Farside for level 28 to 30 in Biodome 3. But just in case you want a refresher, Farside portal is right here. So we travel there. You'll be on the actual planet side, but that's not where you want to be at low levels. You don't actually do the moon part where it feels like you're on the moon until about level 32. From level 28 to 32, you're going to be going through this portal here, which will take you to the Alpha Complex. And from there, you either go left or right, depending on where you want to get to, Biodome 3 or Biodome 4. And I'll have a little diagram to explain that. So from this hallway here, you can access both Biodome 3 and Biodome 4. Biodome 3 will be to the left, as you can see the arrow pointing that way, and will be the lower level one, which is 29 to 31. It's kind of a greeny area, so you'll know if you're looking at sort of a green jungly area, you've made it to the right place. The other direction will take you to Biodome 4, which is kind of a deserty area, and is the harder one that's level 30 to 32. A fun fact is that I only thought there was one biodome when I got here. Or when I was first leveling up my very first character. So I went to the left, did it, and then I just jumped right to the far side planet, which was really hard. I didn't think to go to the right for some reason. I just figured it would be another way to get to the same biodome for some reason. So I was blown away when I found it on my next tune that I leveled. So, here's something you guys know that I didn't. All right, so we'll move straight to what the biodome map looks like. The biodome 4, that is. You can see it looks deserty even from the map. You start off where the 30 to 31 quests are, right there. And you'll sort of move around to the, around in a clockwise kind of scenario. The minion will start at a slightly different area, kind of more by 32 to 33, but you start going the same direction, I believe. And just sort of follow it around. I mean, I'll be honest, quests are pretty good in this game for directing you where to go. So just use this for reference if you ever truly get lost, but you just keep on following where the quests to go. So even if it says to go somewhere else, just follow the quests. I drew a circle in the center of the map because there is a lot that goes on top of this big sort of mountain in the center. It's really fun to climb, and it's a really great view. It's one of the most visually interesting maps in the entire game, so do make sure you go up there. There's some quests and some boss to do. Alright, so once you're done leveling through Biodome 4, which is a nice deserty feel kind of area, and one of the, well, I mean, Malgrave is kind of deserty too, but it's a unique feeling area while you're leveling at this level. You'll be able to head to the actual far side of the moon, which is really exciting. So you're going to want to walk back through this green portal here. At which point you'll get back to this sort of main area, this main landing site, and you want to go to the secondary landing site, which is Site Bravo. So you'll find two little portals here. One will take you back to, the two main cities. The other one will take you to Site Bravo, and you just click on it. Yes, I'll travel. And this will open up the actual moon for you to quest on. And in my opinion, my favorite place to quest, both for the speed at which you level, and just for interesting areas. And it kind of looks like a weird elephant teacup sort of thing, which I will explain where and how you start leveling through this. All right, so you guys finally made it to the actual far side of the moon, the most exciting questing leveling area, I think, when people think of Wildstar, that you get to go on a moon. There's a ton of interesting creatures on there. It's visually really cool to see how they envision what the moon would look like to be on. The low gravity is always fun. It's just a really fun place. So you sort of start around the bottom of the map, and you can go sort of just around the center area for 30 to 33, wherever you see the quest leading you. And then you sort of move up. I mean, we're going to call it an elephant. So you kind of move up the trunk for the 32 to 34 area, which will take you to the very end, the very tip of the trunk there. And there will be kind of a portal you go through, and there's a little like sort of off section that you can do. You go down back to the back of the sort of teacup side, if it was an elephant teacup, to do the handle part for the last bit of 33 to 35. You know, just generally follow the quest. There should be some that lead you down and around there. And then finally you do the top there, which is 34 to 35. And it's got kind of a very good ending story to the whole far side of the planet. So it's a very good place to end off on. And by then you're kind of done with the whole moon scenario. Like, low gravity is fun for a certain amount of time. Also note that while you're on the moon, there is a random event that'll ask you to join every so often, where there is a meteor hurtling towards the moon. You go and sort of teleport to it, and you have to set off these detonations to blow it up before it gets to the moon. I don't know if you'll have enough people to do it when you're questing. It'll depend if it's free to play or not at that point, but it's a really fun event to do, especially if you're doing it for the first time. All right, so once you're done questing and leveling at far side, you should be about level 34 or 35, and you're going to want to head to Wilderrun. Now, you want to take your recall back to the main city, and when you have all the ships in the area, you should find the Wilderrun portal. For the exile side, it's kind of in the back here. Just look on the map, really, because it's got all the little purple things, and you should be able to find it wherever you are. So you find Wilderrun, and you're going to port over there. Now, this is a really big map, so it is going to take you all the way to 40, at which point you can move on, and that'll be the end of questing. I'll show you a diagram like I did for the far side areas for where you want to actually get through. All right, so now we're talking about Wilderrun. I keep on saying, I want to say Wilderrun, but it's like Wilderrun, something like that. I'm sorry if I butcher it. It is the most jungly of all the places, that's for sure, and it's probably one of the biggest maps, like just full-scale maps in the entire game. So you're going to be able to go here around 34 to 35, and you're going to be able to stay until, like, I don't know, 40, 41, 42, something like that. Whenever you get super tired of it, or, you know, if you want to do the whole map because you're a completionist, go for it. I always leave around 40 to 41 because I just want to move on. I'm done with it at that point. But it is a really cool map. There's a cool story going on behind it with sort of the tribal women there. And you really get to see some corruption starting to get into the game here, because there is the dungeon here, the Sanctuary of the Sword Maiden entrance, which focuses on the story of these tribal women. So it's a really lore centric place, and it's a lot of fun that way. So you can see here, you start at the bottom of the map, and I've sort of drawn arrows here. The two little arrows are for where the Dominion would start and the Exiles. The Exiles start on the right, I believe, Dominion on the left. And you sort of pool into that center 34 to 35 area. And then you'll move up to the 35, 36, and you just follow all those arrows across. It's kind of weird at the end there where it goes like, I have an arrow going across to the 38 to 41, and then it goes up to 39 to 42. You just follow where the quests lead you. So if you get a quest to somehow go to the 39 to 42 place first, do that. Just follow the quest, honestly. The quest will lead you through this very well. I remember on the Exile side for sure. There's sort of a quest to do with these satellite dishes that actually like completely just lead you through the entire map, at least for the first portion of it. So it does a really good job of walking you through there, and it's a really good story. If you ever did want to like read the lore and just not skip everything, this would be a cool map to do it in. And that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Alrighty, so now let's move on to the PvE instance section of our leveling guide. So we're going to be focusing on things between level 30 and 40. And I'm not going to have any, visuals for this or any walkthroughs per se in this video, just to keep the video short for the explanation. During this talking area, though, I'll have links to any walkthroughs I have done, and I intend to do one for all adventures, all dungeons, and maybe ship hands. So they should pop up on the screen whenever I complete them. So feel free to come back and check whenever you want to look at those, or just subscribe and see them come to the channel like that. So whichever way floats your boat. We'll talk about ship hands first, and we'll move to to adventures and then dungeons. So at level 30, you get Space Madness right here. Space Madness is an exciting, a very unique ship hand, focused on sort of going crazy. It's got a lot of interesting visual stuff. It's a very fun one to do. I always recommend that you try the ship hands at least once whenever you get to the level, just to take a break from leveling, or to do the quests if you have them for it, and just to explore, because maybe they'll give you a ton of experience at that level, and you can have fun with it for a while, and it's fun to spice it up. So you get Space Madness level 30, and you get Deep Space Exploration, which is one of the longest ones, at level 31. And then you don't have one until 40. So that's all you really get. Deep Space Exploration has a very good story to it. You're kind of getting abducted, which is kind of fun. And it's a survival kind of feeling scenario, and it's a lot of interesting stuff as well to see. And then we'll move over to adventures. What we have here is Siege of the Tempest Refuge at level 30. This is a sort of defend the point from oncoming attackers adventure. I remember back when Wildstar launched, it was thought to be the hardest of the adventures, and because we weren't, and no one was ready for how difficult this game could actually be in PvE content. Now it's very trivial, of course, but it's still a very fun encounter, and I would try it. You might have difficulties finding a queue until the game goes through to play for the non-veteran version, but feel free to look in the chat as well, and you should be able to find a bit more. We'll move down here to dungeons, and you get, of course, Skullcano at level 35. Now, Skullcano is a very fun dungeon. It's a dungeon that you'll have a lot of fun in veteran mode, and you tend to get it a lot. It is known to be one of the more difficult dungeons, especially the last boss. It keeps you fighting. It's one of those fights that when you aren't practiced, it's super hard, but once you're practiced, you can, kind of carry your whole team through it, because it's a lot of fun that way. I will hopefully have a walkthrough of the dungeon that I will link to the video, much like I did for the first level dungeon, and I'm planning to do for the other dungeons, so stay tuned for that. And without any further instances, we'll move on to PvP content right now. So the PvP content is pretty much the same. You can go to Practice Battlegrounds here, and you'll see that you do get Daggerstone right here. It's an interesting battleground in the sense that it's different. You don't get it as much as the other two, and it's a real shame that you don't, because it's a lot of fun. It's got a demolition kind of aspect to it with bombs. It's got the bases that you keep. It's a good time, and I really wish they'd do something to make it so it pops up more. I'm sure it will start popping up more when the game goes free to play. And honestly, like I've said in all the other videos, I would not recommend trying to do PvP to level until the game goes free to play. So I would stick away from this and just stick to the other forms of leveling until the game is free. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully it was more concise and had more graphical information. And we'll have more information when I link any walkthroughs or guides for dungeons into the video. My final tip before moving on is that at this point, and I mean at any point really while you're leveling, if you see world bosses being done in the zone maps you're doing, I highly recommend that you go kill them with a group of people because you get the achievement for it and it is retroactive. So you will get the achievement and it'll count towards your attunement. So for instance, on my most recent level 50, my Esper, I had done world bosses wherever I saw them, and when I got to the world boss stage of the attunement, which is generally one of the more grueling parts, I just skipped it. I was completely done. I didn't even have to think about it. So it was really convenient that way, and I would highly recommend you do it because it's not much effort if you're already in the zone to go do that. And that's pretty much what I want to close on. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you at the next video. Thanks for watching. If you really enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to Wildstar, or have an existing account with no game time left, please try the 10-day free trial either at the Wildstar homepage or by checking out the link I've left in the description below. And finally, if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe.